Welcome aboard the Clue Crew Mystery Channel. I'm Jen, and I'm here today with cozy mystery author Wendy Nugent.
Hello, and today we are talking with Misty Simon. And Misty Simon always wanted to be a storyteller, preferably behind a Muppet.
Yeah.
Animal was number one, 100% with you on that one. Love me some Animal, followed closely by Sherlock Hemlock. Since, since that dream didn't come true, she began writing stories to share her world with readers one laugh at a time. Touching people's hearts and funny bones are two of her favorite things, and she hopes everyone at least snickers in the right places when reading her books. She lives with her husband in central Pennsylvania, where she's hard at work on her next novel or three. She loves to hear from readers, so drop her a line at misty@mistysimon.com. And
Yep.
I'm so lucky I got to meet Misty at the Cozy Fet for the Mechanicsburg Mystery Bookstore or Bookshop back in October, and we were right next to each other at the table. And so she was so welcoming. I didn't know anybody there. And it was like walking in and I saw her come in her Halloween dress. And I was like, oh, I've got an instant friend. This is great. Because I knew you were going to be nice as soon as I saw you walk in.
kind of kind of how that works. It is the dresses. It's so funny. It's either the dresses or it's the hair. So it's either the big curly hair or it's the big fluffy dresses. And I actually had someone at a hotel once. I was leaving a conference. I don't drive in those if I can help it, especially if it's a longer distance drive, because there's a petticoat underneath it. It's a production to get into a car with a petticoat on. And somebody was like, "Oh my, you're not wearing a dress." And I was like, "Okay, so let's just stop right there because I don't do dishes in the dresses either. Like I do sometimes wear pants." And they were like, "I don't know if I can be okay with that." And I was like, "All right, well, you let me know when you work it out because I love the big dresses, don't get me wrong."
But there's
And
a
someone
time and a place.
asked, yeah, someone asked, "Do you like wearing the dresses?" And I was like, "Oh, that is an interesting question. Let me answer it this way. If I didn't, I wouldn't." So
Exactly.
you can love them. I love that you love them, but I need to love them first.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that I'm wearing those just because you might like it. I wear them because
Yeah,
I
I
love them.
call pants leg prisons. So
Yes,
you can tell I feel very similarly. I love a dress, especially a
yes,
dress with good pockets.
yes.
Oh,
Oh, pockets. I mean, that's right there is that tells me immediately. I'm like, pockets.
And the pockets have to be big enough that when you sit down, whatever's in
Yes,
them does not fall out. Because I
this
don't know
is
why companies think that that's a good idea. It's like performative pockets. No, I want real pockets. I want to be able to put an entire bottle of wine in my pocket, or don't even talk to me about
I'm
that
all
dress.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I used to actually wear an insulin pump and putting that into pockets is a thing.
Yeah.
And it would at one time it popped out of my pocket and it was swinging down by my leg while I'm trying to have a conversation with Harlequin at in the middle of a conference. And I was like, never again, never again. Now, fortunately, I don't have to wear it anymore. But it was the thing. If I'm doing pockets, they need to like actually do something. I
Yeah.
am not just
So my
using pockets.
sleuth, she's always putting things in her pocket, and I make a point of that. So to get us back onto the mystery topic,
Oh,
since
right. Is that what we
well,
were talking about? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
everybody watching this video, or every woman watching this video, is going to relate. And if there are men watching this video, they're going to be like, "Why don't women have pockets? Like this is
Right?
because they just get
Maybe
them."
we've maybe we've started a movement, the movement of the pocket.
yeah.
Bring
We
them.
should. We should. The rebellion of women is actually
Yes.
pockets.
Oh, I can think of a couple of things that we could put on that list, but pockets would be top tier.
It's hard
Pockets
to
right
be
there.
rebellious when you have to carry everything. So if you, you know,
Indeed it
yes.
is. Indeed it is. Misty, can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit about your background and how you became an author?
Sure. So, it's 25 years ago. I had just gotten married, and my husband and I worked opposite shifts, and I found myself watching way too much Lifetime TV. And I was like, "Girl, you need a hobby." You need something. And so I had always loved reading, but life interrupted, with after high school, just a bunch of stuff. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to a used bookstore. I'm gonna find a book. We're gonna start reading again. This is gonna be so much fun. And so as I was reading, I kept thinking, oh man, I would have really loved if it had ended this way. Or, oh, I like the motivation, but oh, could we not have? And I was like, well, you know what? If you're gonna say that, why don't you put your cards on the table there, my love? And so I had never really, well, I mean, my bio is very true. In high school, I did a paper on what it would take to be a Muppeteer. I also did another paper on what it would take to be a psychologist. I feel like there might be a some sort of meeting of minds in there, but that's a whole other podcast. Anyway, so I started writing a horrible, horrible book called The Teacher's Lesson. Yes, love that title. And it never saw the light of day. And I thought, well, surely it would be easier to write children's books. No, it is not ever. If you have to do an entire story in 45 words, you are a wizard. And so I moved into greeting cards, and those were not a whole lot easier. And then I started writing actually articles for a magazine on antique cars because they wanted a guy, because they wanted more male readers. And I'm like, I don't even know what a carburetor is, but I do know where the library is. So I went and did a bunch of research, and they loved them. I was M. Simon Penner, which I thought was very sassy. And so, I was getting paid a
They
hundred dollars
probably
a
would have
month.
done better with those articles with men if they'd had a picture of you next to the car in your petticoat dress and with the name Misty. That probably would have been better.
Yes, I mean we could have done that too. I have a
Yeah.
lot of people who actually ask me if Misty is really my first name. The answer is yes. My mom was a Led Zeppelin fan, is a Led Zeppelin fan, so I am
Awesome.
named after Miss Mountain Hop because her favorite song is Black Dog, which is
Uh-huh.
A side on Led Zeppelin 4. But she couldn't think of something in there that would be appropriate, so she flipped the tape over. First song on the second side was Misty Mountain Hop, and so now we have Misty. And
That's a
you know
great
what?
name.
I own it. I now have embossers, which I have embossers that I emboss pages that say you've been mystified, because why wouldn't you?
Perfect. Oh, that's perfect.
So
That
this one has a cat sitting on boxes or books, and this one has a skeleton reading a book. And so
Love
I
it.
own it. I own it. But yes, Misty is the real first name. So then I was given, I kind of started more romance than I did mystery. And I was given a link to a lingerie online catalog that wanted people writing stories using their products. And so that was $200 a month. So I wrote a
You
couple of
made it.
those.
That was Ben. You were at
I
the big
did.
time.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, my goodness. And for the amount of words, I've actually never made that much money again. For the amount of words that I wrote and the money that I got for it, that I don't think I will probably ever truly go
Top.
beyond. Okay, it's okay. And the thing is that I fell in love. I loved telling stories. I loved being able to communicate with people that I will never meet. And so I was still trying on the romance side. I was not doing the best, but then I was also writing this mystery because I enjoy killing people. On the page, we have to put that part on there. I'm sorry. I should have started that.
it's
On the
okay.
page, I enjoy killing people. And so I was like, okay, that was my first published
You're
book.
not
Uh,
supposed to give all of our mystery author secrets away. That the reason
right.
why we write mysteries is because we really want to kill people and we can't.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's good therapy. Yesterday, I was at the eye doctor and I was like, well, if you read my last book, you died in that one. And he was like, are you kidding? Wait a minute, you write murder mysteries? And I was like, we've talked about this for 7 years. Yes, I do. And he's like, oh, you just have a couple? Should I pick one or the other? I was like, I have 64 and you can pick anything you want. And he was like, what? And I'm like, how else do you think I pay for all of your vacations? Just pick something up. So, I think one of the things that I kept thinking was romance has to be easier. Romance can be easy-esque. I just found it easier. I love the framework of a cozy mystery. I love the amateur sleuth. I love the snappy dialogue. I love the sassy characters because you have to be sassy if you're going to be looking into a murder that has nothing to do with you and you really should not be putting your nose in anywhere. There has to be some reason that you would do that. Mine are sassy and they're snarky and I love them. And my very first set though, it was so interesting. She's a bigger girl and she stays a bigger girl throughout the entire series because I did not feel that you had to lose weight in order to be happy. And so she gets the hottest guy in town. My very first email from a reader was, "Do you mean I don't have to settle?" And I said, "Oh, you know what? Go ahead and sit
Oh,
down because we're about to
goosebumps.
have conversation." And that to me is what we do. Look, I jokingly call myself Calgon. If you're old enough to understand that, you might want to also make sure that your medications are all full. But I am here to take you away. If
Yeah.
you get something deeper out of the stories that I tell, that's beautiful. But if you just enjoy the more surface justice, sticking through the community. What's she going to do next? I love that for you. But if you also then get the deeper stuff, I want that. I had a lady come up to me at Malice Domestic and she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you Misty Simon?" And I was like, "Well, if it's something good, yes. And if it's not, then I'll go find her for you." And she's like, "No, no, no." So I had throat cancer. And I was like, "Oh, I don't like these conversations." And she said, "But I read your books while I was going through it, and I just like I laughed in places that I really did not think I would be able to laugh." And I was like, "Wow, okay, I put makeup on this morning and you're about to ruin it." And she
Oh.
said the other day, she said, "I'm okay now." And I was like, "Okay, thank you. I would have liked you to lead with that, but that's all right." So she said, the other day I was having a really bad day and I thought, you know what? If Ivy Morris can do this, then so can I. And I said, "Oh, all right. So now you've ruined my makeup. I will be back in 10 minutes." But that is the beauty of what we do. I know that some people don't like reading anything that's not literature. I want you to have all the things that you want in that. However, what I want is for you to forget to eat dinner on time. I want you to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning and then swear at me. I want you to laugh so hard that you snort tea out of your nose and then tell me about it because I consider that leveling up. I am not going to apologize. If that is what you have done, that makes my heart happy. And the thing is that with what we do provide an escape. In that, we also provide justice, we provide community, we provide characters that are going through things that maybe you see yourself in. And that is not why I started, but that's why I still do it 25 years later. And next year will be my 20-year anniversary of publishing. So,
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
question one. How many minutes did that take me? We might be here for a little.
It's okay. So now that you've started talking about your books,
Yeah.
let's talk about your characters.
Oh, all right. Well, there are a lot of them. I currently have 8 different series running at the same time.
Oh,
I will say, so let me be a little bit more general.
okay.
They're all snarky. They're
Okay.
all sassy. They all have something that they're going through. I really, really love writing people who are imperfect. And own that they're imperfect. My very first, I think it was a Kirkus review. My very first Kirkus review said something along the lines of, "We love Tally because she has all these flaws and she owns every single one of them." And I'm like, "Yes, you do not have to be perfect." So I have Tally Graver. She is recently divorced and she had left behind her whole family in an effort to not be involved in the funeral business. And then she gets divorced and she has nowhere to go. So she has to come back and eat a whole lot of crow. I have Ivy Morris, who has never had a backbone. She still wears brown because at the beginning, because somebody 5 years ago told her she looked nice in brown. So now all of her underwear are brown, her shirts, her pants. She drives a brown car. She only has brown blankets because it's a security thing to her. And she in the books learns to then start wearing colors and really stand out for who she is. I have Mel Hargrove, who runs a junkyard that is filled with objects that all have ghosts attached to them, and they're all very badly behaved. So the whole series is called Adventures in Ghost Sitting because she's big into the 80s. She still uses Aquanet and wears lace gloves. And so I love those titles. It's like Desperately Seeking Salvage. I wear my ghost goggles at night. Every death you take. Like this is one.
Oh, you're
And so
brilliant.
I do love a good title. So she has to figure out, like, this was handed to her. Her when her mother died, she put herself into a Victrola. And so when she doesn't want to hear her mom talk anymore, she just picks the needle up off the record. And I was like, I there are many people who wish that they had a record and a needle that they could pick up. Bring me those people. So, and then I have Jax is new. That's Diners, Drive-ins, and Lies. And she owns a diner with her friend Danny. And then I just put out a steampunk Victorian paranormal mystery with a slow
Hey,
burn
Jen,
romance.
I told you you were going to love Misty, didn't I? I
Yes,
told
Yeah,
you.
you did.
Corpses and Corsets is one of my favorite books ever. The next one is going to be called Scones and Crossbones. And then, oh, Unbridled Hauntings just came out. That's actually set in Chincoteague, and she owns a pet treat store. And when she was little, she had these imaginary friends because her childhood was kind of chaotic. And then she finds a dead body, and these women are talking on the other side of this bush. And they're like, "Do you think she wants to see us?" And she's like, "Show yourselves." So they come out, and here her imaginary friends are actually ghosts that had protected her, and now they will help her protect herself while she's
Oh,
looking for a killer.
oh,
So yeah, I look, I'm fringy. I'm aware of that. Some people are like, "Oh, you don't really follow the traditional cozy mystery model." You are right. I do not. And I would rather you read something that you love. But I have had a lot of people who are like, "All right, I'll try them. Let me see what I think." And then they're like, "I just bought 30 books." And I'm like, "I know. I saw it on the computer. Thanks so much."
That's
Do you need a reader pass? Because I have those. That's one thing I do enjoy doing when I am talking to people, when I'm out doing the things like we did the Cozy Pet. I hand out reader passes. And so it's a like a hall pass from back in
you
high
gave me
school.
one. I
I
love it.
did. And
Yes.
it says that you are more than welcome to read anytime. And if somebody asks you to do something while you're reading, you wave that at them. You tell them that Misty said no. And then you just keep reading. Because I think that we all need a pass every once
Oh,
in a while. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm all about kitschy stuff. I mean, look, I make Yetis, which I should have brought you a Yeti, Wendy, and I'll have to do that next time. We have the spaghetti Yeti. And this
Oh,
guy, his umbrella says, "You've got this." It's a cocktail umbrella. Don't ask me why I decided to glue a cocktail umbrella. I don't know. But he is for when you're writing a book, because you can throw words at the page and see what sticks. So then we have the Forgetti Yeti, and he comes with a magnifying glass. He's if you're looking for things. And then we have the Machete Yeti. He comes with his own
oh,
sword. And
oh,
this is for when you're editing.
that is
So I also have emotional support chickens that say I don't give a cluck. And then we have Quartz. My kid drew a picture. I said, "I need something I want to punch." She graduated from Savannah College of Art and Design as a 2D animator. And I was like, "Draw me something I want to punch." She drew me this bat that I wanted to hug. And
right.
so I was like, "All right,
adorable.
he is now thwart. So if anything is standing between you and what you want to do, he's going to come flying in, and he's just going to stand right in front of it and say, 'No, you're going away. Misty needs to do the thing. You can talk to me.'" And
Oh,
so, I mean, I love all of it. And not only do I enjoy interacting with readers, but I really enjoy interacting with other writers and encouraging them. Look, if you've got a story, there is somebody out there who wants to read it or somebody who needs to read it. And that's why I have all these different, I have a new series starting again also in June. That will be 9, I think. And she owns a bed and breakfast. She's a bibliomancer, so she can tell the future from reading a book. And it doesn't matter what the book is, and it's generally a completely inappropriate book that I'm going to put in there. And so, but someone is dead, and it has to do with a mystery. Oh, and one other series, Magically Suspicious, set at a Ren fair. Everybody cannot do the one thing they were born to do. So then what do you do when your family disowns you? You go to the Ren fair. So I'm like a werewolf who can only change his nose and his tail on a full moon. So yeah, those are the fair to remember. Um, Fiddle Me This for, because the devil's going down to Georgia and he stops at the Ren Fair on his way there, and that creates some havoc. So yeah, I enjoy immensely what I do, and if I can make somebody giggle, or like I said, we talk to people every day that we will never meet
Yeah.
and that we may not even know that we're talking to them, but they find solace in what we do. They find laughter, they find intrigue, and I
And
think that
escape
that's
from the chaos that we're all living through.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Question 2. How long did that take? All right.
Doing amazing, Misty.
Yes. You're like, well, I was going to ask 14, but now we're down to 4. So
That
Just
brings me,
having fun. That's all that matters.
what does a typical writing day look like for you, Misty?
chaos. No,
Chaos.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
It
Okay.
I do have a day job. And so I do that, and then I usually eat lunch, and then I tell myself, all right, flip the switch. And I will actually pick a Yeti for whatever it is that I'm doing that day. If I am editing, if I'm writing, so the spaghetti Yeti comes out on the days that I'm writing. And then I dig in. I have a specific computer for writing. And so it's little and it doesn't do anything but write because I I have to watch myself because I'm like, ooh, what's over on Facebook? What can I post that will make people giggle today? Like the other day, I posted a picture of where is that? I think it's on the back of this computer. It's a dumpster and it's on fire and it says, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." And so, like that's today's was something about people will love you if you fit in the box. Don't be afraid to shove that box somewhere that it might not fit. So, I mean, those are the ones that I'm like, yeah, yeah, let's do that today. But then I try to write in. So I'm going to preface this by saying, A, I have been writing for 25 years,
Mhm.
and B, I am very fast. So I don't like people to put themselves up against what I can do in a day because I don't ever want anyone to find themselves less because they can't. If 500 words a day is your max, that is awesome. I tend to write in 1,000-word chunks. And so I will set a goal for myself. It's usually around 3 grand. And if I make it, that's awesome. But if I know that I have made my best effort towards making it, that's awesome too. If instead I have played Facebook games the whole time, I do have a stern talking to myself time. I
You
do
have a
put
Yeti
myself
that
in a
yells at
corner.
you.
I do. I think that's thwart. Is I've thwarted myself. Thwart comes for me and he's like, look, we
Luckily.
cannot do this. So,
So
but yeah, I would
are
say,
you a plotter or a pantser? Do you
oh, so I'm a planter.
okay.
So I am somewhere in between. I do something called mind mapping. So I get
Mhm.
a very large piece of paper at the beginning, and in the middle goes who is dead. And then from there, I radiate out the reporter questions: who, what, why, when, where, and how. And then I do who my main character is, what my setting is, and that, oh, and then red herrings. And I will fill in a lot of those to make myself what I call a timeline, because the word outline gives me hives because I don't remember where are the Roman numerals and where do I make the A small instead of the big A. And so I have a guideline. I will say that if you wanted to traditionally publish, that is something that you're going to need to learn to do unless you want to write a whole book before they reject you. Because I, at some point, with Kensington, when I was writing for them, I could sell 3 books on one synopsis. Like you have to be able to do that and to show them that you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so you don't always have to stick with it, but you at least have to show that, in the end, you will end up with a story that makes sense. So sometimes I leave it there, and sometimes I'll take the timeline and I make cards, like just little note cards, so that I can write one note card and feel like I have accomplish something for that day. I am really big on setting myself up to win. I know that some people are like stretch goals, and I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm making a goal that I know I can achieve. And then if I go over that, I'm super proud of myself instead of feeling like if I had hit the goal that I knew I could have made, but I didn't make it to the stretch goal, then I'm like, oh, well, that wasn't as good as it could have been. If I'm going to write 1,000 words, I'm going to say I'm writing 1,000 words. If I write 4 grand, I'm like, whoa, you are an overachiever. Instead of I'm going to write 1,200 words, but I wrote 1,000, I'm not as proud as everyone is different. That just is what works for me. So I am kind of a plotter. I do have to know where I'm going, or I will end up down some horrendous rabbit hole. And I'm like, where did you think you were going with that one, Alice? Because like now you got to get rid of 5,000 words and rewrite it because it makes no sense. So, but I
It's
do write every
frustrating.
day
Yeah. Yeah.
as much as I can, because to me, touching the story every day keeps it present in my mind. And I don't have to then go back and think, what did I do last? So it doesn't always work, but I do make an effort to do that every day.
How about writer's block? Do you actually have that?
No,
Some do, some don't. You
I
don't.
agree. Everybody is different. I don't have writer's block so much as I have procrastination down to a science. I do find that the timeline does help, because I can sit down and say, all right, look, let's make a deal here. All right, with the devil. That's me. Go ahead and write one paragraph. That's all I want. Just one paragraph. I just need to know what the next thing that happens is. I will find myself having written 500 words. I
Right.
just have to get my rear end in the freaking chair. Is time that is the biggest thing. So I sometimes I have when I get hit with things that I wasn't expecting. For instance, when Kensington decided to release about 90% of their authors, and I was one of them. It happens, and that's fine. I have actually been able to do some really cool stuff without having to worry about being more traditional. Was there a time where I was like, I don't want to write ever again? Forget it. It's stupid. And yes, but I don't consider that writer's block. I consider that me blocking myself. And
But
so
that
if
is
you,
writer's block. I mean, for everybody who
I understand.
it's always yourself fighting
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
And absolutely, if that's the way, see, I guess I look at writer's block as I don't know what to say next. So if it's more, if you're talking more about writer's block as in you can't write, then yes. Yes, I have that. I will not allow myself to rest in that if I do know what to write next and I'm not currently going through anything
But
ugly
that's
and I'm just
excellent advice, just to
procrastinating.
put the next paragraph down and don't
That's
worry
it.
about
Or even
the rest.
just write
Yeah.
the next sentence. I
Yeah.
actually have, I don't know if you are if you, what is her name? Becca Symes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
Becca, yeah.
so at a conference, I have, they're called stuck list cards.
Yes. Yes.
And so there's actually a book. I don't know if you can get the cards, but you can do resources, progress, environment, emotion, and clarity. So like if you're stuck, what matters to your character right now? What can they not stand to lose? What would they do to protect that? And so sometimes I will just, if I really can't think of what happens next in the story, I will give myself time to just take a little jaunt into something that doesn't matter. So either with the same character, like, oh, well, what would happen if she went on a picnic? Just random picnic. I also have where did they go? Chinese fortune sticks. So you can pick one and then you have to write off of that. So this one says, you will need to work hard, but in the end, reap a rich harvest. So I'll say, all right, well, what would my character do to do that? I actually do that on TikTok sometimes. I will come on with videos and I always start with, hey there, writer, you showed up. Because that's a big one.
Yeah.
You showed up. Even if you don't get more than a sentence a day, you made a commitment to sit down and give to your passion. That counts, period. And one sentence is one sentence that you did not have before.
Right.
And I call that a win.
No, that's great tips to help people that are wanting to, because I think everybody, especially if you're a big reader, you've all
Yes,
had that thought about, I would really love to write a book, but it's
yes,
such an overwhelming to look at a book and think about sitting down and writing that. And then there's also
yes.
like, who am I to think I can do that? But
Oh,
we're we're all just those people who are just huge fans of books to the
yes,
point where we had to get those stories out. And anybody can do that, but it does take the discipline of butt and seat and
yes, yes.
yeah,
You know, the butt in chair gets you there, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
song butt in chair. Yes, yes.
Yes.
And that is, I mean, there are millions of people who want to write a book. And I think the statistic is like 3% that actually start and 1% that actually finish. And you know, but I will always go back to, if you have a story, I guarantee you there is somebody out there who is
yeah,
desperate to read it. But you got to write it first.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
So sit down and do that.
for sure.
Misty, how long does it take you to write a book from start to finish? This answer
Oh,
varies a lot.
yes, yes. Well, I mean, it kind of depends. If I were to do the mind map, do the timeline, write the story, edit the story, get it out, that's usually somewhere between 8 and 9 weeks. So
Oh,
I can write. I have written an entire book in a month, a 90,000 word book in a month.
Ooh,
I don't think I did much else. I can't remember if I showered. I'm pretty sure I ate, but that might have been it. I don't recommend that, to be honest with you. I have done a writer's retreat though, where I was in the woods and with other people and we were not allowed to talk. Do you know how hard that was for me? Oh my gosh. Yes. I
girl,
was like,
I
ah, to a
I
school
cannot do that.
right now.
I no.
Seriously. But
Mm-mm.
I wrote 40,000 words in 5 days.
whoa,
So, I mean, and that story was clean because I was so focused in on, but I don't recommend that. I actually prefer, I would rather do 40 days of 1,000 words a day
mhm.
and hit it every single day, because when I do 5 days of 40,000 words, I tend to not write for another 3 weeks because
Just because
I have exhausted my brain.
exhaust. Yeah,
Yeah. So I like consistency. I don't always hit it, but I do try. But yeah, if pressed, I can write a book in like a month and a half pretty well. I don't think I've ever really taken longer than 3 months to write a book. So, but I'm usually pretty like on some sort of schedule. With 8 series, you tend to have to be a little more planned out than than just, what am I writing today? It's like, oh no, I got a whole list. Right. And then people will say, when's the next this book coming out? And I'm like, don't ask me that. Right? I it's on the list. Okay. Just read
it's on the
these
list.
over here.
You have 64. That should keep them busy.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Except I had a coworker whose mom ended up being in a position where all she can do is read right now for a little while. And my my coworker was like, please tell me you have books that I don't have yet. And I'm like, how many has she gone through? And she's like, 35. And I was like, oh, I mean, I do still have 29 others. And she's like, 35 in 3 weeks. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, we
Well,
might
I
need
think that's one of the reasons why authors are always so nice. It's like such a nice business to be in because we know we can't keep up with all of you all out there.
to. Exactly.
So it's all love that we are happy to share people that we love with you because we can't, there's no way we could write fast enough to keep up with any readers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they would take a new book every 3 days if you could.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can't. So,
So,
and I would rather have good books than done books.
yeah.
So, if I'm sorry if I'm going to have to tell you that it's going to be 6 more months until that book comes out and it's a year since the last one did, that might make me a little sad, but I guarantee you that you would rather have a really good book come out in 6 months than a really crappy one 8 months ago, just because I wanted you to stop asking. So
For
I will
sure.
tell you to stop asking. I'll say it nicely and I'll smile. I might even make it seem like it was your idea.
That's epic. Misty,
Okay, maybe that was a different secret that I shouldn't have let out.
it was a good one though.
Oh,
What book would you recommend someone that is new to your books? Which one of them?
so if you like something a little more traditional, not fully traditional, I would definitely start with Cremains of the Day, which is Tally Graver mysteries. They're a lot of fun. She is super sassy, but it is a little more in line with the expectation of regular cozy mysteries. If, however, you like a little more spicy romance, I would start with Ivy Morris Mysteries. She is sassy and really figuring stuff out, and in the process of that, going right into romantic battle with the cutest freaking guy in town, Ben, my favorite. If you
Uh,
like paranormal that are like lightly ghosty, I would say Adventures in Ghost Sitting, which is Desperately Seeking Salvage is the first book in that. But if you do like a little more down in with the paranormal, supernatural stuff, I would definitely point you over to Magically Suspicious. Now, Adventures in Ghost Sitting and Magically Suspicious are actually novellas.
Okay.
And so if you get the print book, it's three novellas in one book. But you can buy them individually as just ebooks if you would rather do that. I have a series that I don't always point people to. It depends on how dark you are okay with. Wicked Ink came out from Harlequin. Supposedly they were taking a new tact and they wanted paranormal mysteries. That's what I sold it to them as. They made it into a paranormal romance. I will say, just as a warning, he used to be a bad guy, and then his friend died, and he is really trying to redeem himself into being a good guy, but he stumbled in dark ways sometimes. So if that is not your thing, but the cover, oh my God, the cover, it's a it's a guy's back with a huge tattoo, and he just I made magnets out of it in 2015, and that magnet is still on my refrigerator. It's a calendar magnet, and I'm like, I don't care. At some point, they've got to line back up. He sees on, and my husband's like, what do you tell people? I said, oh, I tell them it's you. And he's like, oh, all right, I'm good with that.
That's amazing.
So yeah. But I think I
are
write
your books all wide? Are you exclusive to Amazon? Where should people go to find all of your books?
so on the Unbridled Hauntings, which is the horsing around horsing around mysteries. That's the word I'm looking for. The steampunk one, which is Corpses and Corsets, and I feel like there's one more. Those are Amazon only.
Okay.
Oh, the Poison Ivy mysteries right now. The Ivy Morris mysteries. Those are all, but everything else is all over the place. So, I mean, if you have you could go find everything else somewhere else. And then if you really liked what you saw and you're willing to come into KU or you have KU, you can certainly take a chance on them over there. Um, I I like the idea of wide, but right now with all of the other things that I have going on, because I'm considered very hybrid right now, because I am small publisher, big publisher, and independently publishing. I'm like, okay, look, there is only so much I can handle. There is only so much of me. And right now, Amazon is the one that I'm like, just put them all there. If you need it in a different format, you could also ask because I do sales at well, I want to emboss things. So if you if you want to go through my website and get the book directly from me, I will emboss. I will
Excellent.
emboss
Excellent. I
with
am a huge proponent of supporting authors by buying direct from their website. I have my own store and, so anybody
I'm
who wants to
working
do
on
that.
the store thing that I
Yeah.
don't quite have right now. It's like you ask me and I say this is how much it is and here's my Venmo account. I definitely need to do that better, but I wasn't expecting it to be like that. And then we got a heat press, and I can't keep my husband away from the heat press, and so he makes things like this coaster.
Oh, so he made my coaster.
Did make your coaster, yes.
She came with a coaster with my name on it, which I'm using currently. My tea is sitting on it. So
As you
yes, I
do.
love it. I love it.
Yes.
And yes, it was such a sweet gift that she had one for every author at the event. And yeah,
Oh,
very, very thoughtful.
They were a lot of fun. I also make very strange, well, he makes very strange bags. Let's say I make them and he makes them come alive. So we have flaming marshmallows. So this is for every marshmallow is 1,000 words. And so
Oh,
if you have an incredibly awesome day, then you get Braveheart cutting through all the BS with the flaming marshmallows behind them.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm out of control on that kind of stuff. I've got swag like nobody's business. Just because I have an idea and then my husband says, "Let me go make that." And I'm like, "Babe." And he's like, "Oh, here you go." And I'm like, "Okay." So now I have a
That's
lot of bags.
awesome. That is awesome. Because when you said that, when you gave it to me, I didn't realize that you guys had made it. I thought you meant like,
Yes.
oh, I like ordered it from somebody who made it. So that makes it even,
No, no,
even
he actually
better.
makes,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. It's right behind me. I'm just like, "Stop it." And he's like, "I've got bugs." And I just made another set of posters. And I'm like, "Oh my God, why is this on my Amazon Prime card?" And he's like, "I saw that I can make Christmas ornaments." And I'm like, "Oh," because he's a big
Maybe he needs to
Marvel.
start a business doing like author swag and we could
That's,
all have cool stuff.
that's what he's doing. He just ordered a sticker machine too.
Oh,
We're
wonderful.
going to be making stickers, and we've got coasters. We have ceramic coasters. We have Christmas ornaments. I'm going to be making, I'm super excited. I'm hoping to make them today. They're the bag, but it's a picture that my kid drew of a woman. It's in silhouette. So it's a moon and then sitting on the moon in a big petticoat dress with high heels on and holding a lantern. And the lantern is the only thing lit in the entire picture. And then we're going to frame it with Christmas light. And so then it's the bag, a book, a token, a reader pass, and a reading buddy as a gift for either yourself or someone that you love. So I'm going to put that up
That's awesome. That
somewhere,
is
Facebook,
wonderful.
whatever. So, I mean, because I also do things like I have silver crayons. Okay, let's just start there. And I came up with a saying apparently, which I didn't realize I had come up with it because I was frustrated. And I said, "Look, there will be a silver lining, even if I have to draw it myself." And so I bought a bunch of crayons and I wrapped them with stickers that say Silver Lining Maker. And then you can buy them and you can draw your own silver linings. I have little pillows that say fill up your pillow, and it has a pocket on the back. And so if you're going through a really rough time and the pillow that you're falling back on is very full of positivity, but this one is throwing you off kilter, that pillow is a whole lot better than having a flat mat on the ground that is not going to catch you. So I make little pillows. My mom actually makes the little pillows. I just stuff them with things. I have trash cans. They're little trash cans that people actually use for
This is
pencil
for
holders.
everybody watching. You have to go follow Misty on all social media. You're on Facebook, I know
Oh,
that. And we
yes,
have a
all the fun
website,
things.
and we're
Heck
going to
yeah.
have her website linked down
Oh,
below.
yes. Yes, that would be well, the trash cans, they look like the ones that you roll out to your curb. That people use them as pencil holders, I guess, for school. And on the front, I won't swear, but on the front, I put a sticker that says "Not today," and then it usually has the B word, but we'll leave that there. So every time you have a bad thought, you have to write it down on a piece of paper and throw it in the trash can.
That's a
Brilliant.
fabulous idea.
So it's those kinds of things. I also buy dish soap holders and turn them into holding my fun. Oh, hold on. I just touched something and it didn't go well.
We're still
Hold on
seeing you and
a
we're still
second.
hearing you,
There
so
you
you're
are.
all
So they hold my paper clips that smile at you.
right.
So yeah, I just have weird things and I enjoy sharing my weird things with other people. Like the t-shirts, I have one that I wore yesterday that says, "I will put you in a trunk and help people look for you. Stop playing." Like, huh, that's a bag. And this guy next to me goes, "Oh," because like, I feel like it's a good thing to let you know what you're getting into before you decide to engage in conversation.
That
So,
seems fair.
That's an
That's very
excellent
smart.
plan. That's an excellent plan. Misty,
so
thank you so much for joining us today.
absolutely.
We're going to list your website down below and where we can find everything that you provide for all of us. It was awesome getting to know you, and thank you again.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Misty. Bye bye.
Bye.